How's it going, everyone? Again, talking about Sam Bankman-Fried. Why? Well, because he was just interviewed by the New York Times at their Deal Book Summit. And the most memorable line in the whole interview, it was over an hour long, via video. He said he was having a bad month and that he feels bad. He apologizes. He said, okay, he claimed that he only had one credit card left. And he's saying he didn't know what the future holds. Yeah, well, the sad part is, for the millions of people who lost their money, not only their money, but in some cases, their life savings, millions and millions of dollars, millions and millions of people. Well, something tells the world that this guy is never going to see justice. Why? Because he also talked about his political donations to both parties, mind you. So, New York Times event. Sam Bankman-Fried, look, he was speaking with Zelensky, Zuckerberg, Yellen, Department of the Treasury. These are big hitters, big boys. Larry Fink was there. BlackRock. I mean, what's crazy is Bernie Madoff was arrested in 2008, right? Within 24 hours of the fraud being revealed. In 2022, Sam Bankman-Fried attended the New York Times Deal Book Summit event. I mean, that's crazy, along with these very big, important people. Goes to show you the state of the world we're in. Pretty crazy. At the bankruptcy hearing last week, the FTX lawyers themselves said that a substantial amount of the company's assets, were missing or stolen. And the exchange had been run like Mr. Bankman-Fried's personal fiefdom, which means like his estate, personal estate. And just a few hours before Bankman-Fried spoke, right, BlackRock CEO Larry Fink said about FTX, he said, we have to see how this all plays out. Adding that right now, we can make all the judgment calls that it looks like there was some misbehavior or major consequence. Well, now it's pretty interesting that Bankman did not feel the need to set foot on U.S. territory. Maybe he would get arrested. I doubt it, but I guess he wasn't taking any chances, huh? Anyway, so Bankman-Fried started the interview by saying he's deeply sorry. He's sorry that people lost their millions of dollars. Billions, actually. He said he didn't try to commit fraud on purpose on anyone. He claims he was shocked himself as to what had happened, okay? He claimed to have limited access to data, which is ridiculous. According to the New York Times themselves, on the commingling of funds, there appears to be ample evidence to suggest that Alameda and FTX shared an account at their U.S. banking partner called Silvergate. Not sure how that could square with Sam Bankman-Fried's claim that there was no commingling. So this clown, the scammer, he was visibly shaken. And when asked about his PR, do-gooder kind of image, he basically admitted and supported his previous statements on basically that woke Westerners say just to kind of get approval by the correct groups or crowds or whatever. So that was pretty interesting. He didn't hide behind those words or admitting to doing those things. So after all this stupid stuff, Bankman-Fried repeatedly tried to distance himself, of course, from the actual implosion for having personal liability, which was once valued at $32 billion, filed for bankruptcy November 11th. Traders pulled $6 billion out of there, and in 3 days, basically, he was screwed. So the liquidity crunch at FTX came after, this is supposedly here, Bankman-Fried secretly moved about $10 billion of FTX customer funds to that hedge fund that he has, the Alameda Research, right? And at least $1 billion in customer money is still missing. $1 billion. That's a whole lot of money. So this Alameda, right, the trading hedge fund company headed by his ex-girlfriend, Caroline Ellison, was using the FTX customer money, right, for those trades. And on top of that, this is the issue that U.S. regulators are looking at. Bankman-Fried said on Wednesday that he didn't try to commingle these funds at all. But who else was approving of these things? That's the BS part. The scammer also tried to distance himself from Alameda, okay, saying he didn't have the bandwidth, the personal bandwidth, the energy to run two companies because he had a full-time job with FTX. Therefore, he didn't run the company even though he owned it. And now that's why he's throwing that X under the bus. Interestingly enough, the bankruptcy documents show that Alameda owed $4.1 billion, okay, in loans it made to related parties, which included a $1 billion loan to Bankman-Fried himself. That's pretty sketchy. He did say he was still living somewhere in the Bahamas. Property records show he does own a smaller condo worth about $2 million. Well, it's not as nice as his $40 million pad, but it's still not jail. Funny enough, the bastard denies not going to the U.S. for evading arrest. He said he's thought about coming to the U.S., right? But asked whether he feared criminal liability, personal criminal liability. He silently fidgeted, right? He's shaking visibly on his chair, and he's basically saying, I don't think this is the time and place for me to think about personal criminal liability. So of course the scammer is saying he didn't hide any funds, claiming he's got that one credit card to his name and that's all he has, you know. It's ridiculous. He went on to say there was no wild parties, really no crazy drug use, that he takes a few prescriptions basically to help him think. He says 20% of people would have a little beer here and there, but nothing crazy, nothing that anyone would call a wild psychotic parties. So at the end of the day, Bankman-Fried demonstrates not only that he's a pathological liar and a scammer, of course, but a complete sociopath, right? And the kind who is basically explaining that not only his employees were just doing bad accounting, they feel bad for what happened. According to the new FTX CEO, John Ray, an estimated $4 billion is missing. Potentially, you know, that's where Sam Bankman-Fried basically doesn't know where that went, right? These are loans. They called it loans. Anyways, they were generally not used for large, according to Bankman-Fried, they were generally not used for large amounts of personal consumption, just small ones, okay, like that $40 million penthouse in the Bahamas. So everyone is shocked, obviously, why this dude is stealing billions of dollars and not in jail. Well, it's because he stole from the common man. That's why. Okay, he stole from a few rich guys, but guess what? He made some donations to certain people, so cut him some slack, okay? But overall, most of the money was stolen from Joe and Jane. Now, even his dad, right? His dad caught here on this video speaking of FTX as basically being a platform for the unbanked. So who are these people? These are people who are unbanked. They're poor, okay? And this applies to many countries. It's not just the U.S. So they're funneling all this money. That's where all the billions came from all these people all over the world. It's shocking that his dad was promoting this to very poor people, and then they couldn't get their money out. They got. So nice guys finish last. And this guy walks away with billions. So be careful, everyone. Scammers, scammers, scammers all around, all over, all freaking over. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. It's tiring how disgusting it is, honestly. Well, that's it for now, guys. Thanks for watching. Smash the like, please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.